Today we're going to be talking about the body positivity movement, which sounds great, right? We want to be positive about our body, but there was surprising data. And after I read this, I really felt like I needed to share it with all of you. So you might have heard me say that when I was losing the 60 pounds that I lost, before I stepped on the scale, I would say, love yourself where you are, love yourself where you were, love yourself where you're going. And this was a big change for me. This was the first weight loss where I ever loved myself the entire time and wasn't beating myself up for eating this or that or not losing weight or not working out. It was a very loving experience for me. And you might have seen a lot of body positivity quotes out there. I do feel like there's a strong movement right now. But it actually turns out that some of them actually can do more harm than good. And this was in a recent study published in Body Image. And the researchers found that body positive messages that were pushy, so for example, you have to accept your body or you'll never be happy, tend to have similar effects to messages that pressure people to be thin. You need the perfect body to be beautiful. Those had the same effects on the mental health, really, of the people who were reading them. So both of these messages tend to make people feel guilty or not so great about themselves for whatever reason. On the other hand, there are two types of body positive messages that did have the intended effects. So one was the emphasis on autonomy. So for example, you're the author of your own happiness. It's up to you to be you. And that feels really good when I read that. And then the other type was the type that emphasized acceptance from others. So for example, here, there are a lot of people out there who appreciate you just the way you are. See yourself through their eyes. Ooh, I got a little teary. My husband always looks at me and always loves me unconditionally, even though I can be a pain sometimes. So I really relate to that. And so in this study, those two specific types of messages, one actually helped improve body image. My husband loved me at all my sizes. So when I think about looking at myself through his eyes, I do feel good about my body. And the other is that it evoked feelings of body acceptance and empowerment. And then the third one is it actually increased self-esteem. And we cannot go wrong with those three things. So if you're reading a quote unquote body positive message and it actually makes you feel worse, you are not alone. And I think sometimes just hearing you're not alone makes you feel better. You're like, wow, why did that one upset me so much? You have to love your body. You have to love your body or you'll never be happy. And then you feel worse about yourself. You are not alone. I'm going to say it again. Even just gaining the awareness could actually be enough for you to feel better. Let me give you an example. So let's say you read a quote unquote body positive message and it actually makes you feel worse, or it just doesn't resonate with you. Take time, just kind of pause and take time to reframe those messages so that when you say it in your head, you just change it a little bit to make it work for you. Okay, what was the intended message? They just want me to love myself. So who loves me unconditionally? I'm going to see myself through their eyes. Who, I have control, I have control over my happiness. So I'm going to think about three things I'm thankful for in your life. Just take a little time to reframe of maybe you can think of what their intended thing was and get there somehow. But it's also perfectly fine to completely disregard that quote altogether. We call that return to sender. And I actually use this quite often. I'll read something and I'm pretty good at controlling my mouth these days. I'm not perfect, but my face shows exactly what I'm thinking. And so I will read a quote and I'll like cringe. And so I just kind of sit with myself a second and I'm like, why did I cringe at that? And I will say every once in a while there's a prick that kind of shows you, oh, I could probably be doing this a little bit better, or, you know, that kind of thing. That's a little bit different than this. That's one that's just like, God, that made me feel really bad about myself. Is that even true? No, I don't think that is true. I don't have to have this to be happy. I don't have to be thin to be beautiful. Whatever it is, kind of ask yourself, is that true? Is that true for me? And you can completely return that to sender. And when I read something like that, I will sometimes even say it out loud. Like if it hurts me that much, I'm like, nope, I do not accept that. I'm returning that to center. And so I want you to try that. Like if you read a quote really about anything, honestly, and you're like, ugh, that made me feel really bad. That does not resonate with me at all. Nope, I'm not going to accept that. I'm returning it to sender. Or you can also reframe it to make it work for you. I would love to know how that makes you feel. Please try it. Let me know. Subscribe or follow, and I will see you next time.